Well, I've got one other very big difference that you find, and it's something that, being in education as a university lecturer, I'm very aware of, and of course working with the French and working in the English system, and that's the way that the French mark work. Here at the University of Nottingham, we use a system of marking out of 100. But in France, right across the board, throughout the education system, whether it's at university or at school level, you're not marked out of 100, you're marked out of 20. And I think that this goes back to, and again, the actual reasons aren't really known, but I think it goes back to the medieval period when people used 20 as a base number, as a base for counting. And they would count things out of 20. And nowadays in France, and historically in France, whenever you get your piece of work back, you would have your mark expressed out of 20. So whether you're at university, completing your degree, whether you're doing your baccalaureate, that's the French equivalent of an A-level, you're getting a mark out of, well, if you're doing okay, you get 10 out of 20. That's all right, but it's not fabulous. If you get that, then you're doing a bit better, obviously. That's, everybody would be pretty much satisfied with a mark of 12 out of 20. If you're a little bit ahead of the race, if you're a little bit better than everybody else, then 14 out of 20. The real high flyers are getting 16 out of 20. The top people get 18 out of 20, but nobody gets 20 out of 20 because there is no such thing as perfection.
It's impossible to get 20.
You can't get 20 out of 20. It never happens, because you could have 19 out of 20, but there will always be something that is not quite right with your work. And the reason for that is, here in this system, we could actually award a student 100 out of 100. Not so much in the arts, it doesn't tend to happen, but it could happen. It can certainly happen in the sciences. But there is always going to be something that is not quite right, that is just the missing touch in a piece of work in France that will always see you lose 1 mark. And everybody accepts that. The idea is that if you get 20 out of 20, then somebody's made a mistake in the marking. The absolute top you can get is 19 out of 20. And that's accepted across the board.
Is that even the case if, say, I gave my mathematics student 20 multiplication questions, and clearly they got all 20 right? Do you still dock them a mark? No,
you don't dock them a mark in that sense, but it will be scaled. So you would have a scaling system. Let's say you set them 100 questions and they got 100 right, then there would be a scaling system which says that a mark of 100 equals 19. And all the other marks would be scaled to the scale between 1 and 19. In fact, the scale is not 1 to 20, the scale is 1 to 19. But everybody knows what it means. That's the other thing as well. So it's very clear that you know what 10 out of 20 means. It's all right. 8 out of 20, ooh dear. When you're beginning to get below 8, then you really haven't put in the yards.
So Paul, if I said to you, I've got a test for you,
yep.
What is the capital of France?
Yep, Paris, yep.
Well done, 19 out of 20.
Well.
Is that how it works?
I'd say that's a little bit easy, but yeah, that would be right. Yes, the French would say, well done, 19 out of 20. A word for 70. Instead, what they do is they count to 60 and add 10.
Character
so, whereas we go to 60 and then go,
which is used in formal occasions like title
deed.
deed.
60, but then goes to 60 plus 10.